This is DW News, live from Berlin. A red carpet welcome for the president. Barack Obama meets close ally Angela Merkel in the German capital. It's his final trip to Europe as president of the United States. And he's doing his utmost to reassure her that the transatlantic alliance will endure. We'll go live to their press conference in a few moments. I'm Layla Harak. It's a pleasure to have you with us. It's a farewell meeting between close allies. U.S. President Barack Obama is holding talks this very hour with German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Well, Obama has described Merkel as his closest international partner during his 8-year presidency. Well, today's meeting is expected to focus on a range of topics, including the surprise victory of Donald Trump for the White House, while Berlin is the second and last stop on Obama's final European trip as U.S. president. All right, well, as soon as Obama and Merkel walk in, we'll go there live for you. But in the meantime, I want to bring in U.S. journalist Dave Keating. Dave, thank you so much for being with us here again. I want to get your analysis of what Obama can say or do to reassure European leaders.
Yeah, this press conference is going to be very closely watched all around the world, I think including in the United States. I'm expecting it to be run live on CNN and other cable news networks domestically, which is a big deal and not usual. So he needs to convey the sense that the American presidency stays stable no matter who's occupying it. Now, it's up to public, whether they want to believe those reassurances or not. But that has been what he's tried to say so far in his joint media appearance at the White House with Trump, with further comments that he made on Monday of this week. The idea is everything's going to be okay. It's because whatever the flaws of this one man are, it does not make the whole system of governance fall apart. So he'll be saying that again, and of course in this press conference, he'll be stressing the international aspects. In particular, he will say that the comments about NATO were campaign rhetoric, that the U.S. commitment to NATO remains strong.
Can he say that, though, Dave? I mean, he doesn't know what's happening behind the scenes. We don't know who a president like Donald Trump is and what his foreign policy will look like.
Yeah, of course not. I mean, so that's why I say it's up to Europeans whether they want to believe him or not. I think people here are feeling a definite sense of panic, and so they may want to delude themselves by believing what he is about to say. The other assurances, the other big assurance he has to give is that the U.S. policy toward Russia remains the same, and in particular that the sanctions against Russia will remain in place. Nobody's quite sure what Russia is going to do, even in the coming 2 months during this extremely chaotic transition period, especially with what we've seen the past couple of days. So the message coming from Obama will be, everything's okay, you're in good hands still, Europe is still in good hands with America, and our policy has not changed and will not change.
All right, David, please stand by, because I want to bring in now Rupert who is, of course, standing by at the press conference that is supposedly to take place momentarily. We'll take you there live as it kicks off. Well, Rupert, I want to begin. There you are. Rupert, the White House described Chancellor Merkel as the U.S. president's single closest international partner. Is the feeling mutual?
Absolutely. The United States, of course, have always been very, very important for Germany since the ending of World War II and the founding of West Germany. Then the United States have always been the main partner and the one solemn column everything was directed at. Especially during the last years, of course, there have been some ups and downs in the German-American relations, with the absolute low point being the NSA spying scandal. But things have changed since then. We always have to have in mind that Germany has changed its international foreign policy. Germany has become much more active in taking responsibility. For instance, in managing the Ukraine-Russia crisis, for instance, the Iran nuclear deal, where Germany also was was having a crucial part in the negotiations, and also in all negotiations that are taking place to bring peace back to Syria.
And nonetheless, though, Rupert, choppy waters ahead because, as you know, Obama has, of course, been a staunch supporter of Chancellor Merkel, in stark contrast to Trump, who, during the campaign trail, went out as far as to say that she ruined Germany. How do you expect her to navigate this new working relationship that she'll have to develop with President-elect Donald Trump?
Well, in the same way as she has been working all relationship with other countries and with other politicians, even though if she didn't like them, or if at least the saying was that she didn't like them, Angela Merkel has earned herself a reputation of being a very earnest and down-to-earth politician, non-ideological and very pragmatic. And we already got a glimpse on how she is going to direct or address the United States and its new President Donald Trump on the day after the election, when she said, yes, we are willing, of course, to work together with the President-elect Donald Trump on the base of our shared values. And then she started to list these values: democracy, human rights, the rights of minorities, on and on and on. And with this, she gave a list on how she wants to work and on what basis she wants to work with in future with the new President Donald Trump.
All right, Rupert, I'm going to let you go now because you have to go back in to follow the press conference once it gets underway. So we look forward to catching up with you a little later on. All right, and just to remind you that we'll have special live coverage of President Barack Obama's press conference after his meeting with Chancellor Angela Merkel. Well, some observers are describing Barack Obama's visit here as a passing of the torch to German Chancellor Angela Merkel, who's now being seen as the new standard bearer of liberal democracy. Well, in a recent interview, Obama called Merkel his closest international partner. But that partnership, lasting more than 8 eventful years, hasn't always been smooth sailing, as we're about to hear in our report by Michaela Kuffner.
It sounds like a political declaration of love.
In Germany, I'll visit with Chancellor Merkel, who's probably been my closest international partner these past 8 years.
Warm words in parting, but things weren't always this positive. In 2008, the German Chancellor wouldn't allow the then candidate Barack Obama to speak in front of the Brandenburg Gate. But a few hundred meters down the road, tens of thousands celebrated him at Berlin's Victory Column. After the Bush years, expectations of Obama were high in Germany. The American president who just entered office is a president who is seen as being much more European than his predecessor. But the German Chancellor was not as convinced as the crowds. Angela Merkel expected that the new president would concentrate his efforts in Asia. On her first visit to Washington, Merkel focused more on pragmatic politics. While Berlin was trying to find a way out of the euro crisis, the Obama administration was listening. With the expansion of Germany's role, Washington became more and more interested in a close relationship to Berlin, and that's why Angela Merkel became one of his primary allies. Whether Iran, Russia or Ukraine, Obama and Merkel have shown a unified front. In 2011, Obama honored the German Chancellor with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, America's highest civil distinction. He perceived Merkel as a partner in a fight for liberty.
We want to pay tribute to an extraordinary leader who embodies these values and who's inspired millions around the world, including me. And that's my friend, Chancellor Merkel.
Even then, Angela Merkel remained the sober stateswoman. Together, our countries strive for peace and liberty. History has often shown what power the desire for freedom can have. And eventually, Obama did get his moment at the Brandenburg Gate, 5 years into his presidency. But this picture of unity would soon be badly damaged. The USA was spying on the Chancellor's cell phone. It was a violation of trust that has had repercussions to this day. Still, Obama and Merkel, here at the G7 summit in Germany, continue to work on their common goals, a successful climate agreement, as well as the controversial TTIP free trade agreement. During his penultimate visit to Germany, Barack Obama threw his support behind Angela Merkel's refugee policy.
What's happening with respect to her position on refugees here in Europe? She is on the right side of history on this.
After his visit to the Hanover Fair, no one thought that Obama would ever return to the country as president. But this trip was planned before it was clear that Donald Trump would win the election. If Trump, the president, does what Trump, the candidate, promised, then the transatlantic relationship is going to be a tense one. Merkel and Obama are meeting for the last time. At some point, his successor, Donald Trump, will surely also be a guest here, ushering in a new chapter in German-American relations.
All right, well, we're waiting for Obama and Merkel to walk out any moment now to the stage. But in the meantime, I want to continue our conversation with Dave Keating. Dave, President Obama, final 2 months. Should Chancellor Merkel, like Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, reach out to Donald Trump, the president-elect, build a relationship with him instead of continuing kind of her love affair with Obama?
It's a tough call. Every leader has had to make this decision. Theresa May in the UK has clearly chosen the Japanese route to make overtures to the incoming US president. Japan and Germany have similar histories with the United States over the past 70 years, and obviously a little bit earlier than that. So far, it seems that Merkel is choosing the harder of the two options. Now, Obama's European visit was pre-planned before the Trump victory, but she could have shortened it. She could have tried to downplay the expectations around it. She chose not to. She could have had a more conciliatory welcome statement to Trump's victory. She chose not to. So all indications so far are that these discussions between Obama and Merkel are going to continue intensively over the next 2 months, and that she is coming to at least accept the hype around her at the moment, that she is the last remaining defender of liberal Western democracy.
And as a matter of fact, I think they had an op-ed that was published on Thursday in Germany's weekly business magazine Wirtschaftswoche, where both leaders stressed that the underlying bedrock of their shared values is strong. Are they trying to convince themselves? What's going on here?
Well, it's interesting because in that op-ed, they tried to talk about to focus on the relationship between America and Germany, not the relationship between Barack Obama and Merkel, as in this relationship continues. Nobody reading that op-ed believes that. The relationship between America and Germany is going to be fundamentally different. But what they were trying to do in that op-ed is defend the existing world order. They talked a lot about world trade. They said they both still want TTIP, that's the US-EU free trade agreement, to happen. That's obviously not going to happen now. But it was a robust defense of the way that the Western world has organized itself for the past 70 years. We'll see if that defense is something that resonates with people, but it does seem that a significant number of people in the Western world are not happy with the current global order and want a very dramatic change.